The night had swallowed the city whole. A single road curved through the outskirts like a scar, ending at a decaying mansion, half hidden beneath twisted trees. Its windows were dark, like eyes that had long forgotten what it meant to see daylight. No one came here anymore. Except him. Ethan Cole parked his car by the rusted gate, the engine coughing once before dying into silence. The air was colder than he expected, thick with the smell of damp soil and old rot. He stepped out, flashlight in hand, and looked at the towering structure ahead, the Harrington House. Abandoned for more than 70 years, the house loomed, skeletal, wrapped in vines that looked almost like veins. Half of its roof had collapsed, and the corridor visible through the broken door stretched long and black. Vanishing into shadow, he had seen this place in pictures, crime photos, police reports, blurry newspaper archives. But standing here now, it felt different, alive. He came to investigate for his research. Not ghost stories, not superstitions, real evidence of urban decay and human fear. But the locals had called it something else. They called it the Witch's Corridor. If you walked it deep inside, one villager had warned, you'll hear her whisper before you see her. And when you feel her hand on your shoulder, it's already too late. Ethan had laughed then. But now, standing in front of the mansion, his breath came shorter. Inside the corridor, the door groaned when he pushed it open, dust swirling up like ghosts escaping from sleep. The flashlight beam shook slightly as he stepped onto the cracked floorboards. Every step echoed, every sound returned softer, as though the house was breathing with him. Long corridors stretched in both directions, wallpaper peeling in long curls. Old portraits lined the walls, their faces faded, their eyes following. The silence was so thick that even the flutter of a moth sounded violent. Halfway down the hall, he stopped, a whisper soft behind him. He turned, light slicing the darkness. Nothing, only the staircase and a window rattling in the wind. It's the wind, he muttered to himself, forcing a chuckle. It's just the wind. But when he took another step forward, something brushed his neck. He spun again, heart pounding. Still nothing, just empty hallway. He raised the camera and snapped a photo. The flash burst, white, cold, and quick. And in that fraction of a second, the light revealed something standing at the far end of the corridor. A shape, human. Maybe. He lowered the camera, and it was gone. The whisper returned. She began to record. Voice trembling now. Entry log, 10:14 p.m. Movement detected at the end of corridor. Possibly an animal or reflection. Then it came again, closer this time. A whisper that sounded like breathing words into his ear. Ethan, his name. He froze. The light in his hand flickered. Once, twice, then died. Darkness. He slapped the flashlight. It came back weakly, trembling in brightness. The beam landed on a door slightly ajar to his right, and he could swear something inside the room was breathing. The air smelled foul now, wet, metallic, almost like old blood. He took one step toward the door, then another when he pushed it open. The hinges screamed. Inside was a small storage room filled with old furniture, a rocking chair covered in dust, a mirror leaning against the wall. He raised the light, and then, in the reflection of the mirror, he saw her. The witchy stood behind him, a figure draped in a long, white, tattered gown, her skin gray, blistered, her eyes glowing a dull white, hair long and matted like seaweed dragged from a grave. Her mouth stretched open in a silent scream, and one rotted hand rested on his shoulder. The smell of death filled his lungs. He wanted to scream, to move, to run, but he couldn't. His body refused. Then the whisper came again, right behind his ear this time. You shouldn't have opened the window. The flashlight shattered on the floor. Everything went black. When Ethan opened his eyes, the air was still thick with dust, but the house was silent again. His flashlight lay shattered on the floor. Its bulb cracked open like a dead eye. He reached for his camera, but it was gone. He sat up. shaking, trying to remember what had happened. There was something behind him, something that had touched him. But now there was only darkness and the slow, steady creak of the corridor settling. He checked his phone for light. No signal, no battery. The screen flickered, died, and went black. "It's fine," he whispered to himself, voice trembling. "You just fell. You hit your head. There's nothing here." But as he stood, the sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway outside. Slow, barefoot, soft against the wooden floor. He froze, staring at the door. The footsteps stopped right outside it. And then 3 knocks. Bang, bang, bang. Ethan's heart pounded so loudly that it drowned everything else. He wanted to say something, anything, but his mouth was dry. Finally, with shaking fingers, he reached for the doorknob and twisted it open. The corridor was empty, completely still, but at the far end, where the moonlight bled through the cracked window, he saw something strange. A faint line of wet footprints leading toward them. Stairs. Small. Narrow. Bare feet, and they glowed, faintly, like someone had been walking with feet soaked in moonlight. The voice in the tape Ethan followed the footprints cautiously, every step echoing too loudly. When he reached the bottom of the stairs, he noticed something lying near the wall. His camera. He picked it up. The lens was cracked, but the small red recording light still blinked. It was still filming. His breath caught. That meant it had recorded everything, including whatever he had seen. He pressed play. Double quotes, static. Then his own voice. Weak and distant. Entry log, 10:14 p.m. Movement detected. Then came the whisper. Not just his name this time, but a woman's voice, rasping like dry leaves scraping across stone. He opened the door again. The recording shook violently. For a brief second, a shape appeared, the same long-haired figure from before, her face twisted and blurred. Then the screen went black, but the audio continued. Faint sobbing like a woman crying far away in the corridor. Then, softly, he took what was mine. Ethan's hands trembled. "Who are you?" He whispered to the darkness. "What do you want?" No answer. But when he looked back at the stairs, the footprints were gone. The discovery moved deeper into the house now, unable to stop. His fear was still there, but curiosity burned through it like fire through paper. He entered a wide hall that looked like an old dining room. A chandelier hung crookedly above the long table, its crystals coated in grime. There were portraits here too, large ones. Families dressed in Victorian clothes. He brushed dust off one frame and squinted at the nameplate beneath. Eleanor Harrington, 1872. The woman in the painting looked strange. Her eyes were unnaturally pale, her expression lifeless. And yet, as Ethan stared, he felt sure he had seen the face before. Then it hit him. The woman in the painting looked exactly like the figure in the mirror. His pulse spiked. He looked around the hall again, and this time, he noticed something scratched into the wood of the table. Old letters, carved deep into the surface. She never left. The whisper Grosh turned suddenly, convinced someone was behind him. Nothing, but the chandelier above began to sway slightly, the crystals clinking together like faint laughter. "Who's there?" He shouted. From somewhere upstairs came a reply, a whisper, long and slow. "Come find me." The temperature dropped instantly. His breath turned white in the air. And then, for the first time, Ethan saw her clearly. Standing at the top of the staircase, half in shadow, was the witch, her head tilted unnaturally to one side. Her mouth opened wide, impossibly wide, and she smiled. Ethan backed away, tripping over the broken floorboards. The witch began descending, one step at a time, her long fingers scraping the railing, leaving black marks where she touched. He turned and ran into the corridor, slamming a door behind him. But when he looked up, he realized he had made a terrible mistake. He was back in the same corridor, the same one. The hallway stretched endlessly in both directions, repeating, looping like a maze. The wallpaper curled in the same shapes, the doors all identical. No matter which way he ran, the corridor remained the same. And then, from every direction, came that sound again, the whisper dot hundreds of them. You opened the window. You shouldn't have come. He took what was mine. The voices grew louder, overlapping, until they became screams. Ethan clutched his head, stumbled forward, and at the end of the hallway, he saw a door glowing faintly red. Without thinking, he ran toward it. He didn't notice the shadow crawling along the ceiling, following him.